But it's so good to see you. How many years has it been since you and I have seen each other? It's been quite a bit.
God, I don't know.
I saw the coolest thing the other day with you. You were out at the grocery store getting people's groceries?
That was awesome. I got to tell you, it was, I got in the car after, I got to tell you, I got emotional. I did, because there are a lot of people that were just incredibly thankful. And, you just, not sometimes, I think all the time we take for granted what we have. And there were a lot of people that don't have a lot. And they were, people were happy that you're paying, for their groceries were $20 or $30. And there were people coming through, and you could tell that they were just getting the bare minimum of what they could afford. And so I was just at the checkout line, and people are getting their card out, and I'd be like, oh, your money's no good here today. So that was really cool.
Oh my gosh. What was the coolest thing you heard that day?
A couple people hugged me, a couple ladies hugged me and just said they've been going through a tough time. It's been hard. They had kids, and, more than a few mothers that had kids in their shopping carts or with them were like, thank you, I'm just so tired, it's so hard, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, and, things like that. And then you had a lot of Spurs fans that, older fans that were like, hey, I was there Memorial Day, and, that kind of thing. So it just ran the gamut.
Yeah, I mean, Memorial Day right now is actually the perfect time. I'm talking about your Memorial Day miracle. I know you get asked about that all the time.
Every year, they'll never let me forget it.
Do you want to forget it, or are you glad that they ask you about it?
No, I mean, it just makes me really thankful that I made the shot, I'll be honest with you. It's one of those things, Sarah, where people tell me where they were, where they were when I made it. People tell me I was at a bar, I was with my dad, I was here, I was there when you made that shot. And so, I never get tired of hearing the stories. I got to tell you, never get tired of hearing it. When people come up and say, hey, I hate to bother you, but you're not bothering me when you tell me a Memorial Day miracle story.
What do they want to know normally?
I had a guy tell me that his lung collapsed. He was at the arena, and he yelled so loud that he collapsed the lung. Yeah.
How did you react to that?
Yeah, I was like, way to go.
It does get intense.
Our fans are something else, I got to tell you.
Yes.
There are crazed fans across the league. I think ours are right there, if not the top. I mean, when the arena gets going, there are a few places like it.
I love going to Spurs games just because of that. I want to talk more about the fans and the culture of the Spurs, because I had some thoughts on that. But I want to go back to the Memorial Day miracle real quick. I'm like,
it's okay.
Sorry, Sean, I know you're tired of it.
I'm not, never.
But it's just,
Never.
perfect time. And it's funny because my husband yesterday, he's like, all right, I'm going to play it again. And so when you talk to Sean about it tomorrow, so
good on him.
Play it on TV.
Smart man.
And he was so excited. But it was so cool to see like your feet, right, when you were tiptoeing, right? Because he was like, look, if his heel was just like on that line, you would have been out of bounds. So I'm curious. I was like, well, did you know that in the moment? I mean, can you think that fast? There's so much happening to where you actually know where your heel is?
No, no. I wasn't, like I've said before, I mean, I wasn't thinking that, because if you're thinking, oh, I've got to keep my heels out, and then you turn, you're not going to focus on the shot.
Right, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, and so it was just, I think it was more in my subconscious, where maybe my brain knew that if I put my heels down, I was going to be out. There's really something to that. And then when I turned, the play wasn't even for me, Sarah. I was supposed to catch the ball and throw it down to David in the low block, and David's supposed to score, right? So, but when I turned, it's like what I described to people is that there was nobody else on the floor. It was just, all I saw was the basket. And sometimes players get in that mode where when you catch the ball, you just see the rim. You don't see the defense. You don't see anything else that's going on. And that's kind of what that was. Because when I turned around, if I'd seen Rasheed Wallace running at me, I probably would have done something else with the ball. I probably would have tried to throw it down or pulled it through and put it on the floor, but I didn't see him. I just turned around and I saw the basket.
Do you remember that day like it was yesterday?
Well, that was a long time ago.
But they say we remember things that put a lot of emotion in you. So it's those emotional moments that tend to stay with us.
Yeah, I do remember driving home that day after the game, and when I got in my car, I had a bunch of, I wanted to say voicemails is what it was. We didn't have, I don't think my phones were advanced enough and we didn't have text or anything like that, but I had a ton of voicemails.
We still had payphones at the time.
Yeah, rotary, right? Yeah, so, I just had a bunch of voicemails, and I honestly didn't understand the magnitude of that shot. I knew we won the game, and that was the most important thing. But I didn't understand really the magnitude of it until, much, much later. Then it became the Memorial Day Miracle, because I don't think that was really coined that until much later on, if I'm not mistaken.
Who came up with it? Do you know who coined it?
I don't know.
You don't know. We need to find that person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. I need to patent that.
No kidding. Yeah.
Or trademark it.
Capital license. People bring it up.
Yeah, that's right.
Would you say that was the best moment of your career?
Second best. And I've said this before, is the best moment is when the buzzer went off in '99 and we won the championship. That was the best. Because it's always much harder to bring a lot of guys along for the ride to do something like we did.
Then from that moment on, what was it like for you?
For me, honestly, I didn't get a chance to really enjoy it that much, to be honest with you, because I had been struggling with my kidney disease.
When did that begin?
That began back in '92, '93. And so I'd been playing up until that point with kidney disease where the doctors were monitoring me all the time. But it came to the height in March of '99, and that's when I really started to go downhill.
Right in the middle of everything.
Right in the middle of everything. Right in the middle of everything.
Do you think it was the stress that put more on your...
No, because I had stress throughout my career. It was just the natural progression of the disease. My creatinine throughout my career, which was an indicator of your kidney function.
Right.
When I first got sick in '92, '93, it spiked to like 4.0. And then throughout my career, I'd been taking medication. And then when I went in March of '99, my creatinine was 7.5. And the doctor was like, hey, something's really wrong, and we should take a kidney biopsy and see, you're going to be out for a couple of weeks, but we got to find out what's going on. And I said, no, we can wait. The season's only a couple months longer.
Were you afraid that they would find something and it would take you out of the game?
I knew. The doctors knew too. Your creatinine doesn't spike like that unless you're in kidney failure.
But they still allowed you to play?
Yeah, well, I was pretty hard-headed. So.
But is that your choice? Because, a lot of times, I don't know how it works for you guys behind the scenes, but you hear a player got injured and the next thing they're sidelined. Is that your choice?
No, it was, that's different now. It's a whole different thing now. And that's actually a great question because I was really adamant about staying out there.
So did you have a doctor on the court with you, somebody who was monitoring you
they were taking my blood pressure before the game, at halftime, after the game. And so a lot of the guys were like, what's going on with you?
But they didn't know. Were you keeping this on the down low from everybody? Or?
Yeah, no
one knew.
No one knew.
Coach Pop knew.
No, not really.
Wow.
No. Pop, I told Pop after the season was over that I needed a transplant. So he really didn't know. I kind of kept all those guys in the dark. The team doctors knew that something was up, but that was more of me keeping it on the down low than anything. But but we won the championship. I think, I don't know exactly what day it was, but when we got back home on Monday, I went in for an ultrasound of my kidneys, and the doctors the technician looked at it, and the doctors looked at it and said, your kidneys have atrophied so much, they're like, you got, obviously something's really wrong. And at that point they said, look, you're going to need a transplant. So for me, it wasn't like a months-long celebration like I would have loved to.
It's like you had the good news, and then right after it was just
exactly.
the bad news.
Exactly. But it was okay. Look, Sarah, I'm a lot more fortunate than a lot of people, and that's how I've always looked at it. And I was never afraid, not once. I never felt fear. I just felt like it was all going to be okay. Some way it was going to work itself out. Well, I've been living with kidney disease for a long time. So, I figured at some point it was going to come to a head.
And how quickly did you get the kidney transplant? Because that could be
August.
a really long wait.
August of '99. Yeah, I was fortunate. I called my family and my brother Noel, who's a year and a half older. We all got tested, and the interesting thing is that, you know, my parents were both in the medical field. My mom was a RN for 30 years. My dad was a medical technician, so I went to Tucson, and my dad brought everybody into the lab and drew everybody's blood.
Oh, wow.
My dad did. Really proud of my dad because he was known for having great hands and being gentle with the needle, and all his coworkers were like, "Hey, your dad's the best. Like, he knows how to do it the best." So my dad drew everybody's blood, and then my mom was a match, but she was a match in like 3 out of 6 markers. But my brother Noel was a better match at 5 out of 6 markers, and he was younger. And so they're like, "Your brother's a better candidate." And so when I called my brother, he was like, my brother was like, "That's what I'm here for." He didn't hesitate one bit.
You pretty close with him?
Yeah. My brother was like, you know, we were running buddies when I was young. So my brother was the catcher for me in baseball when I was the pitcher. You know, he was the first one there when I first dunked a ball. We were at the gym at the Y by ourselves, and he just kept feeding me balls. Try again. And so he was there when I first dunked. And so, you know, he's always been there for me. And he jokes that he's like, I was put here to be a spare parts machine for you.
Hey, that's what siblings are for, no?
Yeah.
And that was your first championship?
Yeah, first championship at any level, really. You know, I made it to the state finals as a high schooler, and we lost on the last-second shot. Made it to the Final Four in college. We didn't have our best game and lost, and I thought we had the best team in the country. And then for like 3 or 4 years previously in San Antonio, I thought we had the best team in the league. 94-95 was one. Mm-hmm. I mean, we dominated the Rockets during the regular season, and then they beat us in the playoffs. Next year we had the best record, I believe, in the league, and lost again to Utah in the second round. And so it's hard. It's, you know, I think people look at winning championships and just everybody expects that they're going to win, and it's a lot tougher than it's made out to be. So to finally get it done was amazing, and just the joy on the court, in the locker room after.
What'd you do in the locker room? I'm guessing that was the first celebration.
Oh, we're celebrating on the court. We got in the locker room, and of course you spray yourself with champagne. Everybody's going crazy and hugging and taking pictures with each other and having just, you know, a great time, and that was something special. And then you know, obviously after the game, a few of us went out and just, you know, pretty much almost stayed out all night.
Where'd you guys go?
I don't know. So we were eating and having drinks at the hotel, and then, I don't know, like 4 or 5 of us went out, I don't know, to a couple clubs. And
clubbing. How old were you at the time?
30.
Mm-hmm. Which is
right.
That considered?
I was 31. 31.
Is that considered a little old for basketball?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Kind of like right there at that.
Yeah,
right?
And that's not even really my thing, you know, and it never really was my thing. It was just we had to go out and celebrate, you know. That's what we had to do. So
I wasn't trying to say that you're old to go clubbing.
No, I am. I know what you're doing there. I know what you're doing there. Yeah.
Hey, listen, if I'm 90, I'll still go clubbing if I want a championship like you guys did. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you first started showing interest in basketball? Because for me, I feel like the only time I get to know people is when I go back to the first 10 years of their life. You know, that's really what forms, I think, they say 90% of our personalities and who we are. You were in Arizona at the time.
Yeah. So I played all sports, actually. Actually, when I was in 6th grade, there was an article about me in the paper. So I like to brag about it. I shamelessly brag about my exploits when I was a kid. So, you know, I ran track. I was an all-star in baseball. When I was 10, I think what prompted is when I was 10 years old, I ran in the 10-11 age group for track and field, and I broke the regional record in the 220. And then on a practice jump, I broke the national record on the long jump in a practice jump. But then I couldn't duplicate it in the regular, in real competition. And so, you know, I was an athlete, and they started to write stories about me back then. I played soccer, basketball, baseball. You know, I just like to do everything.
You just had that natural ability.
Yeah, I think I was just an athlete.
And when you were in elementary, were you just like physically really active, a hyper kid?
Yes.
Running around all the time?
Yeah, you know, I mean, I'll give you a great example. If you look at the Tucson Unified School District, they have my birthday as December 12th instead of February 2nd. My real birthday is February 2nd. They have it as December 12th because my mom had to get me out of the house. And my mom's not.
So get that kid out of here.
Bless my mom's heart. She's not alive anymore. You can't prosecute her. But she told Tucson Unified School District that my birthday was December 12th. So I beat the New Year's cutoff. And so always in my class, I was always the youngest kid in my class. Yeah. And I was the oldest kid in my class, might be a year and a half, almost 2 years older than me. Mm-hmm. So my mom was like, I got to get this boy out of my house.
Lucky they didn't send you to boarding school.
Yeah.
At least they just got you out a few months earlier.
No, my mom was like, get this boy out of the house and then put him in all kinds of sports. So I was always in after school sports, whatever. And I did all that. But I didn't start gravitating toward basketball until like 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade. And then 9th grade, I thought, you know, I started to do that more. Quit playing baseball.
Did your height have anything to do with your choice? Did you feel like, I got the height, maybe I'll have an advantage here?
A little bit. I mean, I think as a freshman, I was like 5'11". So that's pretty tall, right? I mean, for a freshman, I was 5'11". But, you know, I could handle the ball and do things. But the famous story that I say all the time is that my very first freshman game, I shot at the wrong basket.
The opposite one?
I did. I shot the wrong basket, and we lost by 53 points.
Okay, you're making me feel better because I remember playing some football in like middle school, and I took the ball and I ran, and I was like so proud of myself because I was so fast, and I made it only to realize I was going in the wrong direction.
Going the wrong direction. Yeah. Well,
so I'm glad to know that there are others out there.
Yeah, we've all done it. So you got to start somewhere, right?
And you still did well, Sean.
I did all right.
You came out okay.
I did all right. You know, shot the wrong basket, lost by 53, worst freshman team in the city.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Did that ever make you lose confidence in yourself, or did you still see yourself as a basketball star one day?
No, I didn't lose confidence in myself. I mean, I loved to play, and it wasn't, I never started playing basketball for any kind of fame or accolades. I just loved to play. You know, I just had a passion for it. And I loved to watch basketball. I love to play basketball. So I watch all the college games. I watch all NBA games whenever I could, whenever they're on TV. And, you know, it's funny because I have people who tell me, hey, you know, what do I do for my son or my daughter? How do I want them to really do something. I said, well, do they love it?
Right.
Do they like to play, or are you forcing it on them? If they love to play the game, if they have a passion for it, then you won't have to do anything. Just be there to support them. And that's how my mom was. I would always say, Mom, I want to go to this camp. Even if she didn't have the money, she'd find a way to get me there. And so it was, you know, my drive and my passion for wanting to play and be a better basketball player. And that's what I mean, ultimately got me to where I am.
Yeah, because a lot of kids, you know, you have an embarrassing moment and then they shy away and they walk away from it. But I guess what you're saying is what drove you is you weren't there to show off or to compete with anyone. You were just there because you enjoyed it.
Yeah,
you just liked to be on that court.
And I failed many times, many times. And so that's just part of it. You know, I don't know if we have gotten people accustomed to not accepting failure, and then you I guess you just kind of retire, or you just give up and you don't want to chase something anymore because you've been through a downtime. But I had plenty throughout my career. I mean, too many things to name. I mean, that, you know, a lot of kids shoot at the wrong basket. You lose by 50 points as a freshman. Right. You know, you go into a shell.
No kidding.
Next day I was in the lunch line, and I was behind two girls, and the two girls were like, "Did you see that idiot shoot at the wrong basket?" And I was like, that idiot was me, right? And so yeah, I mean, plenty of embarrassing times. Had some embarrassing times in college on the court where I made really silly mistakes, and a few times maybe in the NBA. But I mean, that's just part of life.
I love the way that you handled it and you just kept pushing through. I think this is a lesson. I hope that any kid watching this now that's aspiring to be whatever they want to be can listen to you and hear that failure is a part of your success.
Yeah. Success and progress is not, like you've heard it before, it's not a straight line.
But did you understand that at your age?
No, not at all. Not even close. And I also grew up in a place where, in Tucson, Arizona, where no one was expected to do anything big. It was a small town kind of mentality that, big things happen to people from other places. I remember coming up throughout my high school career and didn't get a lot of recognition, and all the best players were in Phoenix, the big city. I remember talking to one sports journalist, and he was almost, not dumbfounded, but kind of put off on the idea that I thought I could be the best player in the state. He's like, "You're not better than that guy, and what do you think? You're not better than this guy over here in this other city. You can't be that good." And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And maybe I was a little discouraged at the time, but that didn't stop me as well. I mean, I always felt like I could work and work and work, and then, let's see what happens. Lots of times, Sarah, I would go to the gym, and I'd be the only guy in the gym and at the YMCA, and I'd be there for 2 hours, spinning the ball out, shooting it, catching it, doing certain things, and just working on trying to get better, because I felt like there were all these other guys out there that were working, doing the same thing maybe, or trying to outwork me, and there were all these guys that were better that I had to catch up to.
So it's not necessarily a natural born talent. You're saying that it takes hard work.
Yeah, I mean, there was talent there. Yeah,
but you have to have both.
You have to, yeah, absolutely. A lot of people. I remember my friends would come back after the summer and say, "Man, you got a lot better." Well, yeah, I mean, the whole summer I was in the gym. That's all. I was the only guy in there. Going up and down the court, dribbling the ball between my legs, back and forth, working on my jumper.
Did you watch basketball at that age? And
oh, yeah.
Were you like looking up to these players and saying like, I'm going to be that one day? Did you ever think that?
I didn't think that, because I was, so many people told me that, you couldn't do it almost. I remember I was talking to one coach, and I'd seen this player from UCLA play. I'd gone to an Arizona game, and I said, "Man, that guy was really good." He goes, "You can only hope to be that good one day."
Wow.
And I was like, well, okay. And that's that's the mentality, that's what I got a lot of in Tucson, where, again, like, it was kind of a small town belief. Like, we'd only had a couple guys in the whole city make it in professional sports, in football or basketball or baseball. And so there was almost this belief that, we're not big enough. We don't have people that are good enough.
But it didn't matter what they believed. What mattered is you believed in yourself.
Yeah, I believed in myself. I didn't have any expectations, though. I'll be honest. It's like, now you have people that, it's a whole different world. Like, I'm going to play in the NBA. I wasn't thinking that. I would watch NBA games, I'd watch college games, and then I'd go try to imitate what I saw, on the court for a long time.
But you didn't think you'd do it professionally?
I didn't know.
But you wanted to?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there was something in the back of my mind that, yeah, I'd love to play in the NBA, but it wasn't like that was the driving force in me. It really wasn't. It was just getting better. That's what I thought about, just getting better, and I was having fun. There was something, cathartic about being in the gym and shooting and having the ball swish and getting better and better. There's something that just, spoke to me, that was just, just a passion of mine, just to put the ball in the basket, to feel the dribble, to feel where the ball's going and control it, and that kind of thing, and just a passion for the game.
Did your parents believe in you?
Oh, my mom, she thought I was the greatest player that ever lived.
Of course.
My mom thought I was better than Michael Jordan.
Hey, you know what? Some could argue. I don't know.
Yeah, my mom thought I was the best, thing ever. But she saw what I put into the game. My mom worked the graveyard shift at the hospital, so She would leave every night at about 10:30 to work from 11 to 7 or 8. And so when I wanted to go practice in the afternoon at the Y, when the gym was open, it was like 1 to 4, 1 to 5 in the afternoon. I was always knocking on her door to get a ride, and that's when she's sleeping. That's her nap time, right? That's her night. And so she got tired of getting up and taking me, and she bought me a bus pass. And so I rode the bus. My mom saw me take the bus to the gym and back all the time. So my mom knew,
You were serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So at what point did you finally realize, I'm going to be something. I'm going to play for the NBA. I'm going to do this.
I didn't realize I had a chance to play in the NBA till like the end of my freshman year in college. I was on Team USA, and one of the assistant coaches, Bobby Crimmins, he coached at Georgia Tech for a long time, and he's one of our assistant coaches on Team USA. And there was me, and there was another freshman on the team. He's like, look, you guys are going to be in the NBA one day. And that's the first time somebody said something like that to me. And I was like, whoa. And I had a good freshman year. I was like Pac-10 co-freshman of the year.
I'm curious to know what that did to you mentally when you finally heard a coach believe in you and see something in you like that.
My college coach, Lou Olson, was always reserved, at least early on in his praise of me. He didn't want me to get a big head. So when Coach Crimmins told me that with the other freshmen, I was like, okay, wow, that's the first time anybody's ever told me that I had NBA potential.
And did that drive you?
I was already driven. I always, I'd already come so far, and then I started getting a lot more recognition. And so for me, I wasn't one at that point to kind of dwell on accolades because they were pretty new to me. And so for me, I just said, okay, that was really cool, and I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. But I never walked around like, I'm going to be in the NBA. If I did that, I wouldn't be here. I didn't start thinking about the NBA seriously until after my senior year was over. I think when I got drafted to San Antonio, that was a big surprise because that year there was talk that I could go anywhere from first to fifth. And I spoke to every team 1 through 5 except for San Antonio. They didn't call me. No one called me. No one talked to me. And then there I am in New York on draft night, and number 3 pops up, and the Spurs selected me. And I didn't know the coach. I didn't know who the owner was. I didn't know who the general manager was. Hadn't spoken to anybody. And so I had to learn pretty quickly and by the way, the Spurs were my second favorite team growing up too. My first one was Philadelphia 76ers. My second one was the San Antonio Spurs.
Really? So
yeah.
you were happy to land with the Spurs?
I was happy. I didn't know anybody, but I was thrilled. And so I was just really pleased to be coming to a team that I grew up watching the Iceman whenever they were on. Artis Gilmore, Johnny Moore, Mike Mitchell, those guys. They were on, they might be on national television 2 or 3 times a year. And when they were on, I would check the paper and see, okay, Lakers, Spurs, Nuggets, I'm catching that game.
Yeah.
So, and then I was here for my first 4 years, got traded to Detroit for Dennis Rodman, and then the next year Pop came back. He was gone. Pop had left, and then he came back, was the general manager, and Pop and I had formed a friendship my first 4 years in the league, and so Pop traded back for me.
What is that like when you get traded? Does that ever hit personally?
Oh yeah, you're a human being. Yeah. What if the general manager called you and say, "Hey, Sarah, we're trading you to KSAT."
Right. I'd be like, "Fine, I'm going now."
Yeah, you would be like, "Yeah, fine, I'm going," but you'd be hurt, right? You'd be like,
I would. I always wondered about that when the trade.
Oh yeah,
happens.
yeah. I mean, you're basically, you have to look at it as in the sense that another team wants you, right? Not like your team doesn't want you anymore. Mm-hmm. You have to look at it that way.
Is that how you felt when you got traded, or were you happy here in San Antonio? You didn't want to be traded at the time?
No, I was thrilled here in San Antonio.
So you weren't happy with the Detroit move?
No, I was heartbroken. But there were already signs throughout my career, because whenever there were rumors about trades, I was always in there. And so, for me, I looked at it as like, hey, well, other teams are interested in me, and I don't see any other players' names in trade. So, am I their only tradable piece? No, they're not going to trade David Robinson. There's no way they're going to do that. And so, when I got the call, and ironically, I was actually doing a Spurs event in Mexico. I was with Jay Howard, and we were doing radio shows from the Tony Romas in Cancun, like promoting the upcoming season. And I was in my hotel room, and Bob Bass called me, the general manager, and said, hey, we're about to trade you to Detroit. And I was like, okay. And I kind of knew that, for years I had been that piece that they could trade, but at the same time, it was still disappointing. But I looked at it as a chance to go to Detroit and learn from like Isaiah Thomas and Joe Dumars and Bill Lambier. Those guys were still there, and learn from some veterans that had won a couple NBA championships. So I tried to take the positive out of it and let that overshadow the negativity that I felt.
I love your positive outlook on everything, Sean.
Not always.
Here's just for the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
What would you say is your most important characteristic that got you to where you are today?
I just feel like I would, the biggest thing is I feel like whatever it takes. That's always been my attitude. Yeah. I'm going to do whatever I have to do. And so, if I have to work, if I have to get up and run at 6 in the morning, if I have to hit the weights, if I have to practice for 2 or 3 hours, whatever it takes, I'm going to do it. And so, I think that's the biggest thing. And I've always believed in myself, as well. And I've accepted failure. It's not always going to go your way. It's not going to always go your way. And so I've been able to, maybe combine all those things into, just continuing to push forward.
What's the most thing that shocked you the most about the NBA when you finally entered that NBA life?
The life away from the court. No one talks about that. So that was a little bit of a shocker for me.
What is it like?
Well, I mean, I came from government cheese and government milk to all of a sudden getting real paychecks, real money, and that was a big lesson to learn.
In the sense that you didn't know what to do with that money at the time. You were young.
Yeah.
Young and
young is synonymous with dumb, right? So I had two people. I had an alumni at Arizona who helped me with a summer job in my junior and senior year, and he was a real estate developer. And he said, Sean, when you make that money, he said, be careful of the sharks and the piranhas. And I said, okay, yeah, okay. And then when I got to the league, sure enough, I started to see the sharks and the piranhas.
How old were you at the time?
21. It's different, Sarah, when people can see your salary in the paper, right? Like, a lot of CEOs out there, a lot of people in town, a lot of people in the country make a lot of money, and they fly under the radar. But as a professional athlete, they say, Sarah signed a 5-year deal for such and such. Everybody knows what you make. And so there are a lot of people lined up.
There's a lot of jealousy.
Resentment. People are resentful of your success or jealous of your success. And then there are a lot of people lined up to try to take that money from you.
How did you deal with that?
Not very well. You have to learn some mistakes or lessons the hard way. You have to learn a lot of lessons the hard way. Have people that you trust, leech off of you or take money from you, that kind of thing.
What was the hardest thing you had to do?
Cut off one of my good friends who was working for me, and had to let him go, and that was hard. That was hard to do. I mean, everybody has their guys and their boys around, people that have been with them for a long time, but then you start to see, maybe you don't change, but the people around you change. And there was a little bit of that.
Or maybe they just revealed themselves.
Yes. Yeah, and you don't see it because you have a blind spot. And so, a lot of that kind of things like that happen, and you see a lot of things that, I was like, I'm not good with that behavior, but you let it pass, and you let it pass. And then finally it comes to a head, and you have to, let go of somebody who's been your friend or you've trusted for a long time. And that's not easy to do.
It was a tough conversation, I'm sure. And
at the time, it ended up not being tough. It ended up being actually, everybody says like, when you're a kind of a gentle person, I feel like I can be a hard ass sometimes, but I can also be really gentle and, soft-hearted. But I read a quote one time that said, there are some things you should fear in life, and one is the anger of a gentle man, right? When I get angry and when it came to a head, then it's not gentle anymore. It's like I call it vomiting.
Oh, God. Watch out when Sean gets mad,
when
y'all.
I get mad, yeah. So, I try to keep it all under wraps.
It's hard to see you mad. I gotta admit, you're like one of the most chill people I've ever met,
Yeah,
Sean.
my friends say that too.
Every time I talk to you, you're just very cool.
I can get
I'm
upset.
like, what does he drink? I want some of that.
Only the finest red, Sarah.
Wow. I mean, they always say that success comes with a cost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. It does, because you get in that situation, and then you wonder why people approach you. You become more skeptical, pessimistic. I'm always wary of people that are giving me too much praise right away. I'm like, okay, can't we just hang out and be friends? And you don't have to sing my praises all the time. You start to become more insulated, and you just don't. It's harder to make friends that way. So it's harder to let people in.
You were young, still trying to learn the ropes of the world, and at the same time, here you are making all this money and famous.
And I was very naive, a very naive person who, at my heart, and I still do believe in people. I do believe in people, but I've also seen the very worst, and that's a hard lesson to learn when you walk through life thinking it's all sunshine, and everybody that walks up, you trust everybody that walks up to you. And then you start to find out that, 60% or 70% of these people are not who they say they are, or they're trying to get something from you. They're transactional friends. They're not real friends.
When you're looking at the current Spurs team right now, those guys are about the same age. When you were in that difficult time of your life.
They're all so young.
What do you think when you're watching them now? Do you ever mentor them or talk to them, or do you ever just go, man, I hope they're doing okay in their personal life? I mean, what goes through your mind?
I stay out of everybody's personal life. That's not my place. If I'm somewhere on the road and a player asks me something, then yeah, I'll give you advice, and I'll say things to the young guys every once in a while. If I don't know, we're getting on an elevator after the game, and might run into Carter or Dylan or Steph, I don't know, and say, hey, what were you thinking on that shot in that last minute, that shot in the corner? Unless anybody asks me for advice, then I'm not really going to give it, because I have a lot to say. Obviously, I always think I'm right, and I have a lot to say, and I look at the game maybe a little differently than those guys do, because all the years of playing, obviously.
Well, because you're also seeing it, I would think, not just from the game, right, but from life perspective, the wisdom that you've gained over the years.
Yeah, and I feel like some guys probably have the right nucleus or the right core people around them, and maybe some don't. I'm not sure, because I'm not in that locker room. I'm not with those guys away from the court as much. But, sometimes you can tell. Sometimes you can tell just from being on the outside and seeing guys. And I feel like, with the Spurs, too, they're always trying to pick high-quality guys.
Yes.
We're not trying to pick guys that are going to embarrass the community, be, hard-headed knuckleheads after the game is over. I don't think we have those type of guys.
Are you close with any of the current players right now?
They're all too young. I mean, virtually everybody on the team, I could be their dad.
I know.
Almost everybody.
When I see their ages, I'm just like,
yeah.
oh my God, I can't believe they're that much younger than me. Because when I see them, I feel like we're about the same age. Maybe I'm just in serious denial. And then I look at their ages and I'm reminded they could be my sons.
No, I mean, almost everybody. I mean, even Harrison Barnes, he's 33, I want to say. I'm not sure. I have to double check that. But I mean, my oldest daughter was born in '92. You know.
How many kids do you have?
3. I have 2 girls and I have a stepson, and my stepson is 34.
And how old are your other 2?
My daughter Jada was born in March of '92, and my youngest Jordan was born in '98. She just turned 28 on May 13th. So, and she gave me a grandson. So, like,
oh my gosh, you're a grandpa?
Yeah.
How did I not know that? I don't
grandpa.
know much. I know about your beautiful wife, Claudia. I actually follow her.
She said to say hi to you, by the way.
Please tell her I said hello. I follow her on Instagram. I would love to have her on the show, by the way,
right.
one day too. That
I'll
would be
let her know.
awesome. But when did you meet Claudia, and how did you guys meet?
We met in rehab. That's what I tell people. Rehabbing our knees.
Oh,
And
okay.
So, yeah. People go, what? Yeah. But then I didn't run into her for a long time. I just said hi to her. And I was coming off of knee surgery. She was running marathons, and she had a big knee brace on. Oh. And I noticed that because I wore a big knee brace all throughout college. Mm-hmm. And so, I just said hi to her, and she was like, okay, who is this tall guy, talking to me? And then I ran into her about a year later.
Was that here in San Antonio?
In San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And we were both ending marriages. And that's what happened. And so we, came together a little bit later on, and we really bonded over our kind of love of fitness. That was the first thing. And then she's a big health nut. Yeah, it was the end of my career, and obviously I was done playing. But she got me off of the fast food, got me eating healthy. That kind of thing.
So she cooks for you all the time?
All the time.
You say a key to a man's heart is his stomach.
Yeah. She's a great cook. She won't admit it. She's the type where she'll cook the food for you and go, oh, I burnt the chicken and the broccoli's not good, and it's all great.
How long have y'all been married now?
So this year is going to be 25 years. She's been the rock. Claudia's been the rock of our family, and my 2 girls adore her. They adore her, and she's brought everybody together because it's not easy to bring in a blended family like that. And, she's been the key to it all, basically.
Yeah. 25 years. Congratulations
I know,
on
25
that.
years we've been married. It's crazy. Like the other day she said, 25 years, babe. And I said, that's a long time.
It is. It goes by fast when you're having fun.
It is. It's gone by. It's gone by. It really has. And, I give her a lot of credit because she saved me in a lot of ways. She really did. She helped me set up boundaries, and she helped me weed out a lot of the negativity in my life, a lot of it. And she's been a great shield for me, and I don't want to say I hide behind her, but it helps, when you have that strong person next to you that believes in you and believes in your worth and makes you start to believe more in your worth. And so she's done all that. I mean, when I talked about when I had to get rid of a friend, Pop had been telling me for a while. He's like, hey, this guy's got to go. This guy's got to go. And I said, okay, Pop, all right. But then finally when Claudia said, he's got to go.
That was it.
And that was it.
You don't disobey the wife, I'm just saying.
No. I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. You're making me see the light. And, it just shows that, how much I trusted her and how much I respected her opinion. And it wasn't like I didn't respect Pop's opinion, but it was just hard. It was a hard decision to make. But when she was like, no, babe, let's take a look at this. And then I was like, okay, all right, you're right.
Yeah, you're lucky. It's very important to have that person in your life that, that lifts you up. I mean, that's the closest person,
Yeah, that's right.
That's an amazing thing to have. What's your relationship like now with Coach Pop?
It's really good. It's really good.
Do you see him a lot? Do you talk to him a lot?
I see him. No, I don't see him as much now. Not nearly as much. He's busy doing a lot of things, and I've been busy. But we keep, every time I see him, I saw him at Timmy's surprise birthday party. So we were like, okay, we need to get together for dinner. I miss you. He's like, I miss you. Let's go have a dinner sometime when all this madness is over with, and we'll do that. But it's Pop has been instrumental in so many things in my life, and so many ways that I think about everything, not just basketball, but about life in general.
Did y'all ever talk about your personal lives? Like it wasn't just business.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
He was a mentor of sorts.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. Pop is, it's a very appropriate nickname for him, because he is like a pop or dad to so many people. And you hear all these stories about what other players have said about him over the years and how he's impacted their lives. But I mean, I've been front and center with Pop for, I met Pop in '89 when we both had, nothing. We were both just scraping to get by. And so, obviously things have changed, but, I'd really admire how he looks after the little people.
Yeah. Do you credit him for the positive Spurs culture and that community Spurs culture that we're seeing now all these years?
It started with Red McCombs and Charlene. Like I said, it was the women. I give the men the credit, but really it was the women behind the scenes. They're the ones that said, hey, the wives, the girlfriend, the fiance, those people are important. The mother of the player, when she comes in town, if she's staying with her boy or her son, that person is important. Bring them all in, make them all feel comfortable. So it was, Charlene McCombs. It was Aaron Popovich.
Mm-hmm.
They all went out of their way to kind of instill this culture and to make everybody feel, included. And you see it with RC's wife, Beth Buford. It's the same thing, And so now every head coach, when the wife comes in, she's almost like, now you're the president of the wives club, and you got to organize all the wives parties and all these things, and it's a job.
The wives are a part of it too, right?
Absolutely.
I think your lifestyle, being on the road a lot as an athlete too. I mean, it's important to have that.
I mean, the people that support the players are just as important as the players. Yeah. And it's hard for a lot of organizations to understand that. They actually don't. I was talking to one of my friends and for another team, and he said, hey, your wives can travel on the plane sometimes on the trips. I said, yeah, they can. He said, wives and girlfriends, they can never travel with us. And I said, well, that's why you guys are 4 and 24. Yeah. You guys don't make anybody else feel like they're a part of it. The players go off. Your husband goes off for 8 or 9 days to play on the road, and you're just, you're an afterthought to the organization. Like when he's gone, they don't do anything for you. When you come to the games, they don't do anything for you. There's so many organizations like that, and then they want to sit back and wonder, wow, why do the Spurs have this culture? Because we were the first one to have a wives' room, a family room, for the wives to get together before the game. If you're going to the game with your husband and he's there 2 hours before the game, I know teams that the wife would sit in the stands over here and the other one would sit over here, and they didn't even know each other. They wouldn't even talk to each other because no one ever brought them together except for like maybe a Christmas party.
So the reason you guys have that tight-knit culture as a team, and we keep seeing that over and over, is because they're making the players happy.
Yeah. And you're making their players' families happy.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And those people get behind, they feel like they're a part of it.
I always wondered what the secret is. Now I know.
and I know firsthand that the Spurs are about really uplifting the community. The Spurs organization is not an organization trying to achieve maximum profits. They're trying to enhance the community. And I learned that when I first got here. When I spoke at city council, when I said I went to virtually every classroom, I mean, honestly, if we were in town, I was at least 2 schools a week, a community center, Boys and Girls Club.
Because they feel like you're a part of them, like you actually care.
We live here. We live in the community. We want to live in a great community. You know, if you have that platform, then you got to try to enhance the community any way you can.
And look, I'm not a sports guru or a basketball guru by any means, but I told you I really did fall in love with the Spurs. And part of it is, even as I watch press conferences, just covering it on the news a lot, and I see different teams speak, there is something so humble when the Spurs players speak. They don't come off as these just, I am everything, the star, you know, the celebrity, which you get with a lot of other players from other teams. Mm-hmm. Is it just perception, or am I right about
No, you're right. I would say that is more of Pop from years back, and then I would credit that secondly to David and Timmy. And I've said it before that those guys didn't read the Superstar Handbook. They're not divas in any kind of way. And then you have Manu, and Tony comes along, and Manu is, if you're ever around him, I mean, Manu's one of the greatest humans. He's just a great guy.
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of these guys that are really grounded. They're considerate people. They're never full of themselves.
And they stop and say hi to people. I mean, the other day I was at a game, and Manu, I see people like behind me, because we were sitting in the front, and I hear them like, oh, nice Manu. And he was just shaking everybody's hands as he's walking by. And I mean, I feel like you're the same way, Sean. I feel like if people can just walk up to you at the grocery store or anywhere, and you'll stop and say hi.
Well, I would just think that if I was in that situation, how would I want somebody to respond to me? And so if I saw my guy that I really looked up to, if I was a kid and I was walking in the supermarket and I saw, you know, George Gervin, who's a modern day player, or Dr. J, who are my idols, and I walked up to him and they said, hey, leave me alone, kid, I'd be devastated. And so you don't do that to your fans.
You know the impact that you can also have by being kind to a kid like that.
It takes nothing. It's easier to be kind than to be mean or cruel to somebody.
Who's your all-time favorite player?
My all-time favorite player is Dr. J, Julius Erving. I would say my top 3 players of all time would be Dr. J, George Gervin, and then Michael Jordan. Those are my 3 guys. And then I'd kind of maybe struggle to find who I think after that, but those are my guys.
And who are you closest with now from the Spurs still?
I see David more than anybody. I see him a lot. I see Bruce. I see Manu a bunch. I see Timmy from time to time. Today I saw Avery Johnson. He's obviously, we've got a bond there, winning championship, and Avery, we played a lot of years together. I saw him come and go and go through the struggle. So, I can't say it's any one player. I think there are too many guys that I just still love and admire and respect.
Now, who do you love to watch right now on the court?
Obviously, I love to watch our guys. I love to watch our guys.
And who's your favorite? You have a favorite from our guys?
I love watching Victor. I love watching Dylan. I think Dylan Harper's a superstar.
Yeah.
Really like watching Steph Castle's game. And I appreciate what Keldon and Devin, what they've become. And then when I start to go outside our team, it gets harder for me. It does. Mm-hmm. Not like I don't like watching any other players, but the game has changed so much that there are a lot of guys like me. We're not trying to bash players. It's changed. It's changed a lot, and I can admire your athleticism and your skill and talent, but sometimes like the strategy and the basketball IQ is just off a little bit.
I heard that you threw a dinner for Wemby when he came to town.
I wish it was me that I threw it, but yeah, it was Pop and RC.
But you guys were all there.
Yeah.
What was it like seeing Wemby for the first time? Did you know he would be the superstar that he is?
Well, I knew by watching his clips, I mean, it didn't take a genius to see that he was something like magnificent and special. But then to sit down and talk with him, I think that was the biggest thing, where you could see what he was made of. And he's asking us questions, how do I get my rest? What can I expect? What's one thing that I could do to, prepare myself and be better? He's asking those type of questions. And that was really impressive. And so we all knew that he was going to be something special. But boy, he was a rail when he walked in. He was so skinny.
He is. When I saw him on the court, I was like,
he was so skinny,
wow.
and he had to walk in, and he's ducking in the door.
And I would need a Bluetooth speaker just to hear him because he's so tall.
He is, yeah. He's got a different climate at his level. I mean, it could be raining up there and cold. It's warm down here. But yeah, the first time he's giving everybody hugs, I'm hugging him like this, And so now I know how people feel when they give me a hug. I'm like, it's the same thing.
And tell me what, like, your final thought right now as you're watching the Spurs right now in the Western Conference Finals.
Just really pleased to see them here. And I said at the beginning of the year, this is what we needed. We needed to get to the playoffs. And for me personally, I thought we had to make it to the second round. For us to get better. I thought if we made it to the second round this year, next year we would be the favorite to win the title, because we needed some playoff experience. But the fact that we've made it this far and we're playing this well, if we play the right way, we have a legitimate shot to win it this year. We really do. And I think if we do that, it's over for the rest of the league. I mean, everybody start planning for 10 years down the line. Because the next 10 years, if Victor stays healthy and Dylan Harper stays healthy and Steph stays healthy, every title is coming through San Antonio.
You want to say anything to our San Antonio viewers who are watching you? And viewers from all over. Spurs have fans all over the world. In Argentina, I saw people wearing Spurs shirts. In France, I saw people wearing Spurs shirts.
So I love to travel, and when I go to Europe, I see so many Spurs jerseys. I see Spurs jerseys in France. I see them in Mexico. I saw Spurs jerseys in Japan when I was in the 90s. And so we have Spurs Mafia. Yes. Right now, we have Spurs Nation. We're like one of the only organizations in sports that have that, like the Yankees, the Celtics, the Dallas Cowboys, those kind of things. You find their fans all over the globe. Same with the San Antonio Spurs. We have the best fans in the world, and that's globally, all over.
All right. So you want to say something to your fans?
Yeah, no, I appreciate all of you. Hey, if you see me in Europe, you see me in Mexico, or wherever I am, Canada, don't be afraid to say hi. I appreciate all of you.
Well, we want to see you more in San Antonio. Just keep staying in San Antonio.
I'd be a fool to leave.
We need to have a part 2 because I feel like I have a lot more questions for you.
Yeah, you can invite me
I know
anytime.
You're a busy guy. And I really appreciate you coming today to have this awesome conversation. This is almost I've gotten to know you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It was great to see you too. And I'm glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm glad your health is good.
Same here to you.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you're here and that your health is good. You look healthy and great.
I'm trying, Sarah. I'm trying to stay here.
Yeah.